Portrait by Guy de Maupassant. Ah, Milyal, someone exclaimed beside me. I looked at the man so addressed. I had long wished to meet this Don Juan. He was already advanced in years. His grey, lustreless hair looked like the fur cap worn by the northern peoples, and his soft, rather long beard, falling upon his chest, resembled fur as well. He was speaking in a low voice to a woman, leaning toward her and gazing with tenderness, respectfully, affectionately. I knew his story, or at least what was known of it. He had been loved to the point of madness more than once. His name was linked with many dramas. People spoke of him as a man of extraordinary charm, almost irresistible. Whenever I tried to learn the secret of his magnetism from women who admired him most, they would hesitate a little and then invariably reply, "I don't know, truly, some kind of charm." Handsome he certainly was not. He possessed not a trace of the elegance usually thought essential to a conqueror of women's hearts. With curiosity I pondered, where lay his power? In wit. No one repeated his bon mots, no one praised his intellect. In his eyes, perhaps. Possibly. Or in his voice. There are voices that hold an irresistible, sensual allure, like the savor of a rare dish. One longs to hear them endlessly. Each word is a delicacy. My friend passed by. I asked him, "Do you know Monsieur Milyal?" "I do." "Introduce us, please." A minute later we exchanged a handshake and began to talk. What he said was reasonable, agreeable, yet in itself nothing remarkable. His voice indeed was beautiful, soft, caressing, musical, but I had heard voices still more enchanting, more thrilling. Listening to him was as pleasant as watching a murmuring brook. His thoughts flowed easily, without effort. He neither stirred curiosity by leaving things unsaid, nor created suspense with pauses. Conversation with him was a kind of rest. It inspired neither the desire to argue nor the rapture of agreement. To answer him was as simple as to listen. A reply formed of itself the instant he ceased speaking, and the phrases came so naturally it was as though his words themselves called them forth. Soon I noticed something strange. We had been acquainted only a quarter of an hour, yet it seemed to me that he was an old friend, that everything about him, face, voice, gestures, thoughts, was long familiar to me. Within a few minutes I felt a bond between us. All inner doors were thrown open, and had he wished it, I could have confided in him things one entrusts only to the closest companions. Truly, there was something mysterious in this. Those barriers that generally exist between people and yield only with time, worn away by sympathy, shared tastes, spiritual kinship, and constant association, seemed absent between us. And perhaps they never existed between him and those whom chance brought into his orbit. Half an hour later we parted, promising to meet again. He invited me to breakfast and gave me his address. I mistook the time and arrived too early. He was not yet home. A discreet, silent servant led me into a handsome, dimly lit drawing room, cozy, tranquil. At once I felt at home. How often had I noticed the influence a dwelling exerts on one's mood? There are rooms where one feels a fool. Others, on the contrary, inspire confidence. Some bring sadness, even when bright and gilded. Others gladden, despite subdued tones. The eye, like the heart, has its preferences and hidden antipathies, often unconscious yet no less real, stealthy, insidious. The harmony of walls and furnishings works upon the soul as forest or sea air acts upon the body. I sat down on a sofa strewn with cushions and suddenly felt those downy pillows support and embrace me, as though the seat had been made expressly for my body. I looked around. Nothing in the room was ostentatious. Everything was beautiful, modest, refined. Simple furniture, oriental fabrics, as though brought not from a shop but from some harem. And directly opposite hung a woman's portrait. Half-length, head, bust, hands holding a book. Bareheaded, with a straight parting, she smiled somewhat sadly. Whether from the absence of a hat or the naturalness of her pose, I had never seen a portrait that so perfectly belonged to its surroundings. Almost all women's portraits I knew seemed contrived, either the lady in ceremonial dress, obviously posing, or arranged in a carefully studied domestic attitude. Some stand majestically, with a haughty expression impossible to sustain in life, others affect coquetry on the canvas. And always there is some detail, a flower, a jewel, a fold inserted by the painter for effect. A bonnet, lace, loose hair all carry the stamp of artifice. One cannot say precisely what, not knowing the original, but one feels it. As though the woman had come visiting, eager to please, every gesture rehearsed. But this woman, she was at home. And alone. Yes, alone, for she smiled as one smiles only in solitude, thinking of something at once sad and sweet. One does not smile so in the presence of others. She was so truly alone, so truly at home, that in the whole spacious salon I noticed nothing but her. She filled it, lending warmth to every object. People might have entered, spoken, laughed, even sung, yet she would have remained alone, with that solitary smile, animating the room with her unwavering gaze. And that gaze too was wholly unusual. Gentle yet motionless, it rested on me without seeing me. All portraits are aware of being looked at, and all return the gaze. Their eyes perceive, reflect, follow us unceasingly until we leave the room where they dwell. But this woman did not see me. She saw nothing, though her eyes were fixed on mine. I recalled Baudelaire's striking line. Your gaze, alluring as that of a portrait. Those eyes, traced by the painter's hand, had once lived, and perhaps live still, eyes that irresistibly drew me, filling me with a strange, hitherto unknown emotion, both masterful and tender. Oh, what boundless charm emanated from that dark portrait, from those impenetrable eyes. It was as gentle as a light breeze, as enchanting as a sky fading into lilac, rose, and blue at dusk, and as sorrowful as the night that follows. Created with a few strokes of the brush, those eyes preserved the secret of what seems real yet does not exist, of that fleeting spark in a woman's glance that may awaken love within us. Suddenly the door opened. Monsieur Milyal entered. He apologized for being late. I in turn excused my own premature arrival. Then I asked, "Forgive me, may I not be indiscreet in asking, who is this woman?" He replied, "It is my mother. She died very young." And then I understood the source of his inexplicable charm.